Carrie from Carrie Buys Houses here. Last week we talked about bird dogging. Today is part 3 of the how to invest in real estate without a lot of money out of your pocket, and today we're going to be talking about owner financing. So just a quick disclaimer, I am not a CPA or an attorney, however I'm happy to share my experiences as an investor, and these strategies have really helped us to build our rental portfolio as well as consistently do flips every month. So today I have brought in my good friend and mentor, Augie Bylot, and I wanted him to join in on the conversation because owner financing can get a little bit more technical than wholesaling and bird dogging, and there's no one better to tell us about owner financing than Augie.
Well, thanks so much for having me with you here today. I feel like a celebrity with the amazing Carrie, so this is going to be fun, I'm sure.
So just, I want to give you a real life example. A lot of our rentals we've bought with owner financing.
Sure.
We have never used a bank financing on any of the investment properties that we've ever bought. And owner financing is such a great strategy. And we're going to get into the details on it, but one of the greatest properties we ever bought was a property in Orlando, right side of downtown Orlando, and it was a situation where the seller was in a need. They were an elderly couple, they lived out of state, they owned this investment property here in Orlando. Their granddaughter had trashed the house, unfortunately, and they were in a little bit of a bind because they didn't want to fix the house while living in Tennessee. They didn't want to rent it out anymore, but the real problem was that they had paid way more for it than it was worth at the time we bought it. Okay, so we offered them a cash offer that just wasn't going to work for them. So we then offered them an owner financing offer, which basically gave them their asking price, and the way that we were able to make it work for us was we got great terms on it. It was basically like a 2.5% interest with minimal down payment, and it's a nice long-term hold for us. It cash flows really well, and we set them up to receive monthly payments with the owner financing. So let's go into how or what owner financing is. So Augie,
sure.
What is owner financing?
Well, owner financing is really a situation where the owner is willing to accept their equity in installments. As an example, in the deal that you're talking about with this nice couple in Tennessee, you were able to structure a payment stream that would allow you to cash flow the property while paying them a whole lot more than you would have been able to pay them if you're going to flip the property. Mm-hmm. Okay, so because you're buying it for cash flow rather than a big profit margin, mm-hmm. that's what allows, sellers to actually get a higher purchase price because they're accepting those installments over a period of time.
So let's just use a visual. So let's say Augie owns a house and he is the owner and I am the investor, okay? So cash offer might not work for him because it's a little too low. So now what I'm going to offer is owner financing, where I'm giving him monthly installments for his equity and I'm giving him a nice monthly income stream. So I'm going to take ownership of the house, and in exchange I'm going to give him two things here. One is a mortgage.
Yep.
And what does the mortgage do?
And that's going to pledge the property as collateral. The other one is really this promissory note. So a promissory note is an IOU. What's an IOU? It's a promise to pay. So there's a document that gets created that simply says you're going to get this monthly payment on the first of every month, and it's got some other terms in it, but that's the gist of it. It's I'm going to pay you X number of payments of X dollars every month. Now, should I not do that, should I default, this comes into play, this mortgage, and what happens is the mortgage pledges the property as collateral. So if you, as the buyer, do not honor your obligation, then the lender and seller have the right to take their collateral back. Mm-hmm. So that's what protects them, along with a few other things.
Okay, so let's talk about who benefits in these kinds of deals. Obviously, we've got a seller, which is you in that example, and the investor, which was me in that example. So how does the seller benefit?
Well, the sellers can benefit a lot of different ways. One way is, in this particular case, it was a rental property, and so they may have had a capital gain. In this case, they didn't, but you get to spread the tax liability over the longer term, so you're taking a smaller tax hit. Sometimes if you sell a property that's been fully depreciated, it's got a lot of gains in it, you can get hit with a pretty big tax bite. Again, I'm not a CPA or an attorney either, but I do know how this stuff works because I've studied it for years, I've taught it for years. Additionally, lots of people are hitting that baby boomer generation, you know, that 10,000 people a day are turning 65. And a lot of them aren't really well prepared for retirement. So if they're going to live mostly on Social Security and maybe a small pension, getting a supplement to their income in the form of this monthly payment can work out really, really well to help their lifestyle. And, you know, one of the other things, yeah, why don't you...
As you like to say, it also protects parents who have adult children when they have a hard time saying no to their adult children.
Yeah,
so
that's
if
very
you have
true.
a bunch of cash laying around, sometimes it's hard to say no.
And that could be a big part of your retirement nest egg.
Correct.
So these are, you know, just some of the benefits, but these are significant benefits that a seller can receive when they are willing to accept installments, you know, rather than a lump sum in exchange for their house.
Now, I think it's really important to take these into consideration when giving your offer as owner financing, because as we all know today, we're in a really hot market. Someone asked me, well, why would someone want to do this versus sell their house when they can get full price offer in today's market? It's because this could be a way better return on their investment versus just selling it outright.
Absolutely, because sometimes they can also, you know, earn interest on top of that sale price. So over the longer term, they can collect a whole lot more dollars.
So how does this benefit the investor?
Well, there's a lot of ways it benefits an investor. Now, I've been investing for decades, and in my last 600 or so transactions, I've had 2 bank loans, which means 598 of them have been done with creative financing of one form or another. And many of them have been done with seller financing. Why do I like seller financing? Well, unlike banks or hard money lenders, I don't normally pay any kind of points. So that's a savings right up front. I usually get an extremely competitive interest rate. It's easy to qualify. It's funny, in all the seller financing transactions I've done, I've never once been asked to see my credit report. Now I've got, you know, I have an 800 plus credit score,
Right.
but nobody seems to care because what they're really concerned about is how they're going to be protected.
Right.
And we demonstrate that a number of different ways. It doesn't appear on my credit report. I'm negotiating relatively low interest rates that are fixed for many, many years, and many times there's no down payment required. Sometimes a small down payment's required. Varies on the deal. So you've got flexibility, and we've got a lot of opportunities in terms of what are our options as to what we can do with the property once we've acquired it. You know, if I buy a property for cash, I'm usually going to have to sell it. That's my only exit strategy. If I buy with a bank loan, well, they're going to have a lot of requirements and contingencies. Oh, one other big benefit. I can close very quickly. Now, go to the bank today, and it can take you anywhere, you know, 45 days. Yeah, it's probably the average. And if a seller wants to move in a hurry or take quick action, seller financing is one of the best ways to move.
Yeah,
like
I think
that.
in that Orlando house, we bought that in 3 weeks, which was great for them because they lived in Tennessee and they didn't want to have the liability of an empty house here in Orlando.
Right. And, you know, there's other benefits too. We put properties in a trust to make sure everybody's protected as well that way. And so there's just a lot of different things that we can do to help the seller to be successful.
So what kind of opportunities do I, as the investor, have when I structure this with owner financing?
Well, like any other house, you could flip it, but that'd be a terrible decision because you have this beautiful fixed monthly payment that should allow you to cash flow the property. So I would think of things like renting the property as a good, you know, long-term hold kind of strategy. It's a great way to build wealth while you're helping somebody else enjoy cash flow. So that's one. You can do a lease with an option. So that's rent for a period of time and then potentially sell it. And when you potentially sell it, you might even be able to sell it with terms to your buyer. So now your seller continues to enjoy long-term benefits. You now can get long-term benefits from that financing as well. And somebody ends up with a new home and financing that they might not have been able to get through a traditional channel. So, you know, you've got seasonal people that are, you know, they just have income that doesn't meet the requirements of a traditional lender, but they're good people, they're solid, you know, they've got the opportunity to own a house, and we can help them do that. So to me, that's, you know, the best of all possible worlds.
Great. One thing to also mention with owner financing is you can also structure owner financing with your flips. So, for instance, one of the properties that we did together, this was a situation where another elderly woman, she did not live in Orlando, which is where the property was located. The house was a disaster. There were squatters living inside, so it was a real problem for her. Again, the cash offer was a little bit too low for her, so the way that we structured it was she held a single payment note, which was due, I believe, within 13 or 24 months. I can't remember exactly how we structured it.
Yep, you got it.
And there was no payments, no monthly payments, no down payment. We owed her $60,000 whenever we renovated it and sold the property. So what was great about that is I think the repairs on that one were $30,000. Instead of having to come out of pocket $90,000, $60,000 to purchase it and $30,000 to renovate it, all we had to do was come out $30,000 for the repairs because she held her equity in the form of a note. So obviously our return on investment was far greater with that strategy, and we had to come out of pocket less.
And basically, we gave her a little more than we wanted to.
Correct.
But where did that come from? It came from the interest we would have paid had we gone out and borrowed the money. So it worked out great. It was no money down, no payments a month. How many people can afford to do those transactions?
Plus, I believe we got a private investor to come in for the $30,000, so our return was infinite.
Yep. Yeah, we didn't have a single penny of our own money in the deal.
Yes. So again, owner financing, it's a great strategy for both long-term holds on properties that you want to hold on to. You can also use this on flips. But thank you for coming in today, and we'll have to have you on some more.
Well, please do. I loved it.
Thanks, guys. And again, if you know anyone that is interested in selling their house, please contact me at Carrie Buys Houses. All this information is also going to be up on my blog page under Carrie's Corner. And if you're interested in learning more about real estate investing, Augie has a great free ebook called Financial Freedom Blueprint, and if you click on the link above on the Learn More button, you can go ahead and download your free ebook and get started.
Terrific, and you can always visit us at creatingwealthusa.com.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.